Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Now, Temi is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. And each week, we interview successful leaders who share the unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry, and today we have an amazing guest joining us, Boris Sanchez, investor, educator and founder at Reidy. Hello, Boris. Were you waiting there? Like he's going to say it. We talked about it. Am I going to make a mistake? And I was so close. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much for coming. We know you're busy, so we appreciate taking time out of your day. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. It was delivered perfectly, by the way. Yes, I'm doing very, very well.
You're the complimenter and a gentleman. Now, obviously, I can't compete with that view in the back. Very unfortunate. Mine looks very drab in comparison. Where are you based at the moment?
I'm in Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Lovely part of the world.
It can be. It can be like that. Summer is tending to get a little hot around here, but we try to stay positive.
Yeah. Well, you're looking cool. So for those who don't know who you are or any of the companies that you've set up, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the company that you work at?
Sure. So, I've been an entrepreneur since I can remember. Started at 7 years old, founded my first company. It was a food delivery company within my own school. And ever since then, I moved to this country at around 11 years old. And ever since then, have been involved in quite a few ventures. And 16 years ago, when I graduated at London, got my MBA and moved back to Texas. And I started in the real estate world. I've been doing that for 16 years. And in the last 2 years, I've had a great opportunity to solve a lot of the problems I've seen as a real estate investor with Reidy.
And if you don't mind my saying, you've had quite humble beginnings. So you weren't exactly born into money and you kind of managed to climb your way to the top. Like, how was that journey? What kind of things have influenced you from your childhood?
Yeah, it's a great question. I believe, well, first of all, I'm a middle child. For a lot of you middle kids, you know what I'm talking about. You tend to be more independent. But yes, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. We actually came to this country to escape the violence that was going on in Colombia in the 90s. My mom was a prominent attorney down there, and we had to move. It was that or our lives. And so we moved here, and unfortunately, the way the education works in the United States, they didn't validate my mom's, being an attorney, my mom's education. And so she had to start by sweeping floors. And I think, that affected me a lot, seeing my mom going or being very prominent out there and successful to, sweeping floors and making it happen for her three kids. Yeah. And so that I kind of feel something inside me to get my own too and help out.
Yeah, it's an incredible journey. Like anyone who's interested should look at your LinkedIn post where you kind of detailed some of the things that you've had to deal with. It's incredible, it really is. And the fact that you managed to achieve what you have achieved, because although we're talking about Reidy today, you've actually got a number of successful businesses under your belt, right?
Correct. I've had four before I got started in the real estate world, including an auto dealership and a consulting business and the e-commerce. Yeah.
So what is it? What kind of qualities do you have to be able to set up your own business? Like, I'm almost 50 now, so when I do a lot of these interviews speaking to people, and I think, wow, what do you have? What is the drive that you have that makes you get out of bed and say, do you know what? I'm not going to start just one company. I'm going to go for a whole collection of them.
Well, hopefully it doesn't start out that way, and it didn't start out that way for me. I think there's a cycle to business, and I get interested in things. There's also like an end of the cycle to things, and so as I ended, for example, my e-commerce business, I found that I was really good at selling automobiles and cars, and so I started selling a few, and then started my own dealership, and then on it went until I sold a dealership. And then I went off to my master's degree in London. And so there's a life cycle to things. And nowadays, now that I don't have any other education to go for, I think I've been really solving issues that I've seen in other things. For example, in real estate, right? I didn't really identify the problems at first when I was a real estate investor, but as I went on and on, I saw that it really is an non-innovative industry, and I wanted to get some of these issues solved, and just kind of venture out there, venture into a new world like tech. Yes, it is kind of a blessing and a curse to have that mentality, saying I'm going to go out there and solve the world's problems. And I say that because it can be stressful. It can be stressful on your family, it can be stressful on your life, especially if you have children. But it is a blessing, because after you've done some things and achieved the level of success, you can sit back and be relieved, like, well, I actually accomplished that. That's amazing. Or if you failed, you have the choice to get up and do it again, or just try something different.
So you've got a number of different businesses. Is the template the same? Like, is it once you've started one and made one successful company, that's it? Basically, you have the template and you can just apply that template to any other company that you set up.
I wish that was true. But no, it's unfortunately not. A lot of it is timing, right? Even if you try the very same template for success in one business and apply it to the next, which is, identical, the timing of things might be off, and you might fail at that venture. And so I think it's a number of things. It's luck. It's identifying the problems, and taking a lot of emotions out of, your problem solving skills, very much being confident in your problem solving skills, for sure. I have a feeling, and I talk about this with my fellow entrepreneurs, friends that I hang out with. You kind of have to have a little level of ignorance when it comes to the problem you're trying to solve, and that's where confidence fills in the issues.
Mm.
I tell them that, hey, I think if we all knew the risks, every risk there were to anything that we do, we wouldn't accomplish anything. And I see that in very intelligent people, especially the intelligent people that I do business with. A lot of them have analysis paralysis, which is they overanalyze the problem and they just kind of refuse to take the next step because they're so intelligent. They know all the risks. So it's not a completely bad deal when you don't know everything, but you should at least know what you don't know. You know what I mean? Instead of just going out there and thinking you can brave it all.
So if we look a little bit at Reidy now, what was the journey? Why did you go and think, "Do you know what, this is an area that needs to be solved? What were your frustrations about real estate? And what was kind of the process of setting up Reidy?
Sure. So, it's been a school of hard knocks to enter into the tech world. But in my real estate investment career, I also started kind of the same, where I just kind of braved it out there, and I said, you know what? This information is not really that popular. Investing in commercial real estate is not that popular. I wonder why. Why is everyone keeping the education and the experience so close to their chest? And I've come to find out that yes, it can be um, very profitable, but also very risky. It is not popular to go out and buy property by yourself without any partners. It's not very popular to be an owner operator. In real estate, folks start out by just owning residential real estate, and then move on to just kind of investing passively with others when it comes to commercial. What's really not popular is actually investing in commercial all yourself, owning your own commercial properties. And I wanted to, experience that, because I said, hey, look, if we apply some of these creative financing techniques and creative deal structures, then we can make it happen. And sure enough, I started in 2013 with only 8 units. And by 2019, I had over 650 units, and I was scaling up very quickly. That's when, folks started reaching out to me saying, hey, how can I also scale and buy the apartment complexes, the storage, self storage facilities, the properties that you're buying and all yourself? And I started mentoring folks. And it was also then that I started having the idea of the issue that was eventually Rady was going to solve, which was, hey, look, why is real estate investments, why is it so fragmented? Why is it so disconnected? Why are property and financing so disconnected yet dependent on each other? There was a lot of confusion. Folks don't really know what they're doing. Schools of real estate schools don't really teach commercial real estate at all. And so there was a lot of disconnect that I wanted, and I started having an idea back in 2020, 2021 that I wanted to solve. And it was around 2024, actually winter of 2023, that I started having a better vision of what Reidy will eventually become.
So, for those listeners who aren't familiar with Reidy, what does the platform actually do and who is it for?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. So, Reidy is the world's first marketplace for real estate investments powered by AI, right? So we've actually gone out and had our own LLM, our own large language model, and powered it with the world's best data. And so we've partnered up with the biggest companies for real estate data, including CoreLogic, Moody's, Mashvisor, Atom Data, which are, powerhouses when it comes to real estate. They're very respected companies, as well as added our own 5,000 lender database. So Reidy would eventually become the platform where you would kind of discover, you would analyze, and you would finance properties all in one, instead of, the fragmentation of, I'm going to go look at demographics here on this site. I'm going to go look for financing from this broker and get one lending solution, and I'm going to get an appraisal. We've actually completed that all under one house. We've made instant appraisal technology for both residential and commercial properties, both as is and after repair values, which is integral in real estate investments. And we've made the first engine, the loan engine, to personalize every deal and bring over 200 loan options personalized to your financials on every single property. So it's all very intuitive. It's all very easy to use. And like I said, it's the world's first marketplace for that. Instead of a marketplace normally centering on the homeowner, this one gives you all the tools where to make the decision quickly on your real estate investments.
So it's kind of interesting. Well, I think a lot of people are using AI. I think it's like the go-to thing now because it's helping to create lots of efficiencies where perhaps a human method would probably be a lot more inefficient. Did you always know that AI was going to be the solution to this project problem, or was it something that you kind of felt that you needed to put in later as you went through the journey?
I've actually had this idea around 2021 where, AI really wasn't that popular. I think ChatGPT had barely been announced as something that can create PDF files for you. And I was quite curious about it, but I didn't know it would eventually become a great partner in what we are building, as well as, completing the idea that appraisals, which normally take up to 2 months to receive, could be completed with AI and have it learn about, what the processes are that a licensed appraiser takes, but do it instantly. And so the fact that it all came together at the same time, with, timing again being of the issue, it is perfect. And so yeah, what a great timing that was.
And like, what kind of do you have like different levels of reliability or trustworthiness for data sources? Like when the AI is learning, do you weight certain data sources as higher than others, or like how does it, without revealing any obviously company secrets, like how is it learning? What's the process there?
Yes, no problem. So, yes, you are completely correct. A lot of folks may listen to this and say, well, why can I just ask Claude to or ChatGPT to enter in an address and say, is this a good investment for me? Well, you have to remember what these sites are powered by. They're powered by free data, they're powered by erroneous data. A lot of folks like to complain about, the sometimes erroneous information, or what do you call it? I forgot the word.
Hallucinations?
Yeah,
Or,
hallucinations. Thank you.
yeah.
The hallucinations that come with AI, it's because a lot of it comes with erroneous and even conflicting information. It looks to Reddit, for example, for a lot of its own information, and so and anybody can post anything on Reddit. And so yeah, we wanted to make sure that our LLM, our partner AI, was going to use the best quality data. And so, yes, we went to powerhouses such as CoreLogic, which owns all of the real estate sales comparables in the nation. And so, who better than them to actually provide the data? This data is very expensive. It's not publicly available. They're very privy to their own data. They're very protective of it, and so the fact that we were partnered with them is huge. And so When you feed AI the correct information, you get wonderful results, and this is exactly what we wanted to power.
So we've talked about some of the issues there. Like, where do you see like AI outperforming traditional real estate analysts? Do you think we're already at the point where actually it is more reliable, it's much quicker, or do you think there are still some struggles that you kind of have due to the nature of AI?
I really think it depends on the tool that you use. If I wanted to make a nice PowerPoint, I only had a few minutes, and I had some real concrete data to show. Why not put it on Claude, right? I mean, it is a tool to help you make decisions, make presentations, make legal documents, make anything faster. And it can present you with the options so that you can take the decision on whether or not to do some things and make some decisions. And so, in that aspect, yes, I think it is very reliable. It is at the point where AI is helping. As far as I've heard, it has not translated directly into companies' ROI or bottom line, right? But I really think we are at the cusp of that. And I think we're about to get to that point where it really makes the whole world of a difference. Recently, I was at a roundtable where this was being discussed with nothing but CEOs. Everything was, under discussion, including employees being replaced by AI. And the conclusion that we all took was, hey, look, it may be easy to lay off us employees in order to be replaced with AI. But what happens later is that somebody's going to have to maintain the data, maintain the information. And so, what these jobs are doing, they're not being immediately replaced, they're being evolved into something else, which we've seen if you look historically. We've seen in the past, when the printing press was invented, when the computer was invented, there were jobs that were lost, but they weren't really lost. They were just evolved into something else. And it provided humanity with a lot of tools to make the right decisions. And so I really think AI is good at that.
What does a perfect deal flow experience look like in your vision?
A perfect deal flow as far as real estate, or what do you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I would say that's exactly what we wanted to bring with Reidy is something, a tool that brings all the truths, all the best data out there available for real estate. If I wanted to look at a house in a certain neighborhood that I'm not familiar with, I want to look at the schools. I want to look at the walkability. I want to look at the crime. I want to look at all the demographic data. I want to be able to see the sales comps, the rental comps, and even the financing available for that. That's exactly what we wanted to solve, and that's the problem that I've seen, in my earlier years as an investor. And so, for me, the perfect deal flow will come with the right data. I'm not talking about again plugging in an address into Claude and have it tell me about the neighborhood because I just don't trust it enough. And I'm sure that I think that sentiment is growing now, where it's like, okay, you're cool, but I also don't trust you 100%. I wanted to make sure that folks had a source of something that, look, we are sourcing our data from this data pool and, trustable companies that own their own data. And then we are able to present, with clean AI, that information. And so that exactly is where the perfect deal flow tends to come from for me is give me the most reliable data out there and then let me make a decision.
Maybe we're looking a little bit into the future here, but could you see a point where platforms like yours would help to execute deals in minutes instead of like weeks or months?
Correct. No, you hit the nail on the head. That is a dream of mine. I'm not sure why real estate takes so long. I can't really get a good answer to whenever I ask that. Why isn't real estate so tradable now? You have everything available online, and all the information is fully accessible. From the point of you looking into the deal, analysis wise, appraisal wise, you have the dimensions of a property. You're only seconds away from finding out the condition of the property to the title studies. All of that information is fully available online, right? The financing, the moment that there is a fund out there that has AI doing their underwriting, it could be instantaneous. So if we start looking at every facet of real estate and every process that has to take place, it all could be instantaneous, if not done in minutes or maybe a couple of days. I think one of the things that takes the longest is just going out there, driving to the property. Everything else can be done instantaneously. And so I really think that we're driving to that, and our Reidy is positioned in a way where that can be a reality in the near future.
And also, since we're talking about the future, would you like to see Rady perhaps going from more of like a decision support tool to being actually a decision maker? Or do you think that's something that you probably don't want to see the company go in that direction?
I definitely want to see the company go in that direction where it's an immediate decision maker. I want real estate to be as tradable as stocks. I want it to be as, marketable as an Amazon item.
Mm.
And it is, people might scoff at that and say, come on, that's like the biggest decision you're ever going to make in your life. Yes and no. I mean, it may be, and if folks saying that may say that because they might not own any real estate, but as I go on in my real estate career, it kind of becomes easier for me to analyze deals, to actually get stuff done, to make decisions on whether or not I want a property. And so, yeah, will it be as easy for a beginning investor to actually make a decision? Maybe not, but it is about making you comfortable enough and bringing you all the data so you can make that decision eventually, right? So yeah, definitely, you hit the nail on the head. I really think that in the future, all of this will come together, and you see it startups right now saying instantaneous closings. We bring you a title insurance policy right away because all that information is already available online. And so if you kind of marry all of these processes, you get almost instantaneous real estate transactions.
If you look at Reedy, and perhaps like Reedy in your own experience, like where would you say like the main failings are? Is it like sourcing? Is it financing? Is it analysis? Is it execution? Is it all of them? Like what's your kind of feel?
That's a great question. I really think, something we can adapt later would be title. It would be instant underwriting of the funds. So Rady connects you with our database of over 5,000 lenders. Something we are looking at is starting our own fund, like I said earlier, that does instantaneous underwriting. Right? If a customer, if a client has a full financial file with tax returns, bank statements, and everything like that. And all of it has been, proven to be fraud free. And there are software out there that does that. Then there should be a customer profile and a score right away, which a fund can look at and instantly decide whether or not to lend this person and or group of people money or not. And so, yeah, in that instance, I think it is something that we are looking at into the future. And it is something that right now we can't completely say that we have, but we're working on it.
Is there, without giving away obviously advice, what would you say like the biggest opportunity in real estate tech is that people are still either misunderstanding or underestimating?
How easy it is to own investment real estate. Actually, some folks, including myself, might say that it is easier for you to buy investment property than it is to buy your own home. That's a lot of, thanks to a lot of regulations that, the federal government has put in within good reason. I'm not saying it's completely wrong to have regulations for homeowners. I really think it's true, but it is easier. There are a lot less regulations when it comes to financing your own property or your investment property, analyzing it as long as you know what you're doing. I think it's great. Just the same, it is very easy to lose money in real estate, and so I really think education is the bridge that prevents you from doing that. And the risk averse decision you can make is to educate yourself in investments, and in doing so, you'll become much better, a much better investor, a much savvier investor, which is exactly again why, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, why we want to provide as much education and information to the consumer so they can make the right decision.
Perfect. And unfortunately, we are coming towards the end now. So the final question that I always ask everyone, and you've got a lot of experience under your belt with this. What is the best piece of advice you could give someone who maybe is starting out to become an entrepreneur or wanted to start their own business?
I would say 100% is educate yourself and make a decision, make a move. Start with the step number one. There's no need to overanalyze and make no decision, make no moves. I really think coming to a place where you say, okay, I know enough. I think I believe in myself and I believe in my problem solving skills. I can tackle this. That is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And then take step number one. And it really is like that. Number one step is get educated. Number two is believe in yourself. Number three is take the first step. If you are missing one of these steps, most likely you won't do it. You won't make it. And so it is better to start. I would say it's always better to say that you have started and you failed than you have never started at all. So yeah, please take the right step.
Great advice, Boris, and thank you. You truly are an educator, so living up to your name there. Look, I want to thank you so much again for taking the time to talk with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate you having me. All right.
That was Boris Sanchez, investor, educator, and founder at Reidy.